Okay, you're good to go.
Yeah. Hi all. I'm Aradhana Mohan Parvathy, a PhD student at Purdue, and I welcome you all to today's session where I'll be giving you some tips and tricks that you can use for nailing your interview. So before I go into the session, this is going to be a very interactive session, and I would really appreciate if you're comfortable, you can feel free to turn on your videos and unmute yourself and ask me any questions whenever you want. So feel free to do that. Today's session is going to be on interviews, as I told before. And the agenda is going to be, first, we'll be looking into what all preparations you can do before your interview. And then what are the things that you need to take care while you are giving your interview? And what are the things that you need to do after an interview? So we'll be looking into each of these steps or things in detail. But before we delve into the details, can I have a show of hand of people who are extremely confident with respect to presenting themselves or talking about themselves or answering questions in an interview or speaking to someone who you haven't met before and so on. So how many of you are extremely confident? Can I have you can use the reaction buttons in the reactions in Zoom if you want. And how many of you are a bit shy or not so confident in talking about yourself and in with a person who you don't know or with respect to facing an interview? So I see Shreya has responded that she's extremely confident. That's a really good thing, Shreya. That so you have first step crossed. So I think there are quite a good number of people who haven't responded. So I and I see Rasika has raised her hand. So when you are not confident, it's important that you develop that confidence and try to have that courage or boldness in facing an interview. So, what can you do for that? We need to prepare and practice as much as you can. So, the lack of confidence mainly stems from the fact that you don't know what you are going to be asked, you are expecting an unknown question, or you haven't prepared that particular question. But as you prepare and practice, it will actually improve your confidence a lot and make you bold to say things that you want to present and come off as a very confident person. So for that, we need to first understand what are the things that you can prepare beforehand. What are the things that you can be confident about so that you can present yourself in a very good way. So if you take any interview for that matter, there are a good set of things that you can prepare beforehand and be confident about. So one such thing is be it any technical interview or behavioral interview or whatever kind of interview, one of the first and foremost question or standard question is to tell about yourself. So since it's the first and foremost question, that is the one that is going to be uh, leading to your first impression. Your interviewers are listening to so many people, like whoever they are interviewing. So when you talk about yourself, that is your first opportunity to get their attention and leave that impression that you are some really good candidate. I need to be listening to this person. So you get that attention through your about yourself speech. So you don't want to go wrong in this. So what do you need to do? Prepare and practice. So can I have some suggestions on what all can you talk in and about yourself pitch? You can put it down in chat, or like you can unmute and tell what you feel up, like what all things that you can talk about in your about yourself pitch.
Ma'am, good evening, ma'am.
Yeah, hi.
Hi, ma'am. I'm Harshavardhani, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am,
Hi,
like
Harsha.
if you're introducing about ourselves, ma'am, first of all, we need to say who we are and currently what we are pursuing and what we had studied in the past, like which school we had studied, and about our parents and siblings, and about our hobbies, and what is our long term and short term goal.
Yeah, that's a really good start, Harshavardhini. Like thanks for your suggestion, and that's a really good suggestion. And
Good evening,
Priyadarshini,
ma'am.
yeah, hi Shreya.
Yes, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. How are you, ma'am?
I'm good.
Yes, ma'am. In our self intro, we can add some other things also, ma'am. Like if we have achieved anything unique from others, we can explain about them, that to them, ma'am. And also some kind of extra talents which we are having, and we can tell them what are the things uh, we want to learn from the thing which we are pursuing right now, or with the
Yes.
things which we want to learn in the future. We can share with them, ma'am, so that they will know our interest and that will help them to hire us, or we can create a good impression in that, ma'am.
That's a really good suggestion. You're going in the right track. And then Priyadarshini Prabhu has told that like we can share our interests and our future goals. And Lakshmi Narasimhan has shared that we can share our skills and strengths. All these are really good answers. So I think you are all on the right track towards developing your about yourself pitch. So as some of you were telling, uh, like there are some common things like name, education, place, and so on, which you can tell. Like as you were all mentioning, like you are all going to say that. But how can you make yourself unique and stand out? Like I had like really good suggestions from your end, like all of your end, like interest, passion, like what all you have achieved, what are your goals, what are your future directions, and so on. All these are really good things. I just have one additional suggestion to that. That is when you talk about, like, this is just an example. Like you can talk about your passion or like interest. This is just one example. But instead of just saying that you are passionate about something, provide some evidence to that. Like provide something that will actually make it strong. For example, I'm saying I'm extremely passionate about music. So this is one claim that I'm making in my about myself pitch. But more like if I say like I'm extremely passionate about music, it is just a statement. But if I say I'm extremely passionate about music, because of which I have been taking music classes or lessons for the past 15 years, and I take all the possible opportunities to participate in competitions and like look for venues to perform and so on. If I say all these additional evidences, right, say for example the fact that I have been taking lessons or like have been looking for opportunities, that shows how much I'm passionate about music. And it also strongly supports the fact that I'm passionate about music. So rather than you saying statements like I'm passionate about this is my future goal, this is my skill, or so on, or this is something that I want to improve upon, it is very important that you add evidence to whatever you are saying whenever possible. I'm not saying you have to add evidence to everything possible. Like whenever possible, it will make your claim sound strong if you support it with evidences. Do you have any questions on that? Like, do you all agree that it will make it sound more credible?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah, so like that is like in general, this is a fact. Like whenever you are like facing your interview, not just with your about yourself pitch, whenever you say or like make a statement like this, make some kind of claim, make sure to add some evidences whenever you can. So that's one thing. Then the other thing is like whenever you are giving some interviews, like you are probably giving it for some scholarships or some organizations offering some scholarships. So for example, like for example, if I say I am applying to a scholarship, that scholarship which is organized by a which is done by an organization which is mainly like volunteering towards giving back to people who have like or giving to communities which have suffered like natural disasters or like giving back to the community or something like that. Say like this is just an example. So if I'm like you need to understand the goal of the organization that is giving you the scholarship or that is conducting the interview, and like try to align your goals with that. Like try to see what are their goals and see if you have some alignment towards their goal. I'm not saying you always need to have an alignment with their goals, but try to see if you have some kind of alignment. And if you have an alignment, that is a strength. You need to showcase that in your about yourself pitch. For example, I was talking about me being passionate about music. For example, and in this scenario, I can probably align myself and showcase the fact that I am aligned by saying I'm extremely passionate about music. And because of that, I've been taking lessons for the past 15 years and try to find whatever opportunities I can to perform and to participate in competitions. In the future, as I grow into a more established musician, I plan to hold a lot more concerts and have fundraising events so that I can give back to my community. If I say something like this, that shows a strong alignment to whatever the organization's commitment is. And it also shows that I am a responsible person and I want to give back to the community. I'm not saying you have to like make up things, but like you have to think and like if you have some kind of an alignment, it is important for you to showcase that. So when you say like things that will capture the attention of your interviewers, they are listening to so many people, and you are this unique student or like unique interviewee who is like putting forth these factors, then they'll have your attention. Like they you will get their attention. That is very important in any interview. So do you all agree to this?
Yes, ma'am.
So yeah, that is one other suggestion that I have. So moving forward, like this is just another suggestion. But another important thing is like these are things that you can include. And on top of that, what you need to do is you need to have a retrospect on yourself, see what are your strengths, and try to showcase that in your about yourself pitch. So now it's time to experiment, and like given that I have told you like a few pointers and like you yourself had a lot of really nice suggestions, I want you to take a few minutes and start drafting your about yourself pitch. So as I mentioned earlier, this is something that you can prepare beforehand. So you don't want to leave it to like spontaneously like saying something, because what if you miss out on something important? So it is important to have a draft. Like you need not by heart and say things, but at least have a draft of these are the points that I need to talk, and these are the points that I should surely emphasize. Have a draft. So I'll give you like a few minutes so that you can note down what are the important things that you would like to talk in your about yourself pitch. Like meanwhile, if you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat or like unmute yourself and ask me. And if you feel that I'm going a little bit fast or something, please let me know. Meanwhile, if you have some cool suggestions that you can incorporate in your in your about yourself, which apart from whatever I have told, I would be happy to listen to that. Are you all working on your draft? Awesome. I'll give you another minute, 1 more minute, so you can work on your first draft till then. So you can talk about yourself. Hemalata has asked this question, how many minutes we have to talk about yourself? So you can talk 5 to 10 minutes about yourself. That should be good. Sometimes again, this is subjective. Sometimes the interviewers themselves might say, okay, you can talk about yourself, tell us briefly, like in 2 minutes or something like that. If they say like very like if they were like, from the way they are telling, if it sounds like extremely briefly, or like how much they are okay with, if they say something specific, then you have to account that into the picture. But if not, typically you can talk for 5 to 10 minutes. How many of you have a good draft, and like how many of you feel that you need more time to prepare your draft? Can I have a show of hands? That's awesome, Shreya. Okay, for like whoever who have a good draft, it's a nice first draft. And for others, take your time and make a good first draft. And the thing is, you don't have to stop with just one draft. The good thing is you have started working on your elevator pitch, or your about yourself pitch. It's a good thing that you have started it. So now it's important that you keep visiting it, practicing it, and improvising it. So like the thing about like these like about yourself pitches are, like as you practice it more, and as you like practice by talking it to other people, like have mock interviews with your friends or family people, and like try to present your about yourself pitch in front of mirror, like do all this. And as you do this, in the process you will realize, okay, these are not so important things, I need not have this. Or like you realize that there are some other things which you probably want to include. So you'll keep improvising your about yourself pitch. So keep doing that. Don't stick to one version and say this is going to be my about yourself pitch. The good thing is you have a first draft, so keep working on it and improvising it, improvising the content, as well as try to improve your presentation by practicing with people and in front of mirror. So be confident, be confident and then present it. So for that you need to do it multiple times, so that you also have fluency and are like confident with yourself. Is that does that sound good?
Yes, ma'am.
And also practice all the important things. Like this is just one thing, this is definitely going to be asked like in most of the interviews, in any kinds of interviews. Apart from that, you need to know your essays really really well. You don't want to miss out on important points or like forget important points. So like keep revisiting all the important things that you have written in your essays, like your accomplishments, the different kinds of efforts that you have put into, the challenges that you have faced, all these kind of things. Like keep revisiting that so that you have it on your top of your head. Like you don't want to be thinking for a long time when someone asks you some questions related to that. So like have like go through it regularly, and like think of all the scenarios. Like while writing essays, you would have probably thought about all the possible scenarios that you have faced in your life and different kinds of situations. But apart from that, also keep revisiting different things in your life. What are the important things? What are the accomplishments and so on? So that you have it right there when someone asks you, okay, what is this or what is that? So keep revisiting that and practice more and more. As you practice more, you are going to have a lot of confidence. So if you have like 120% confidence before the interview, that's when you will be able to perform at your 100% during the interview, because there are a lot of other factors, like no matter what, they are like new people whom you haven't interacted before. So definitely some kind of like panic or fear factor or lack of confidence, all these are going to come in. So it's important that you practice really, really well so that like you can perform like at least 80 to 100% during your interview. So this is all about practicing before the interview. And one important thing that I want to mention is, like, when you talk about your accomplishments and stuff, don't feel awkward about talking about it. Like, don't feel that I'm like boasting so much about I have done this, I have done that. Don't feel like awkward about talking about your accomplishments. It is important to showcase your strengths and market yourself and pitch yourself in the best possible way. So, like, don't overdo it and say things that you haven't done. People can actually understand if you lie. So, like, don't try to do that. But about things that you have actually accomplished and actually achieved, feel confident to say that and market yourself using that. You don't have to feel awkward about that. Because when I started off, I myself had a lot of hesitation in saying I did that, I achieved this, I did well in this. I used to feel very conscious about, does it sound like I'm being so much of like boasting and saying like I'm so and so, I'm great. Like, it's not about saying I'm great. It's also about like, it's about you actually pitching yourself in the best possible way. So don't feel like hesitant to do that. Okay. Now, yeah, sure, you can. You can. Lakshmi Narasimhan has asked if we can add some points which we have done in school days. Definitely, definitely. So you can add like whatever you feel is like really, really relevant or like really important. Again, like first, I would suggest you jot down all the important things that you have done, or like what all are really, really nice or like really, really good. Then have different sets of versions. If you are asked for a very small version, what are the most important? Have a priority. These are the most important things that I tell. Then if I have more time, I'll talk about these and so on. So try to have a like list of all the possible things that you want to talk about and prioritize that. And choose the most important things based on the time constraint that you are given. Am I clear, Lakshmi Narasimhan? So that's why it's important to like have like think and improvise, because you will sometimes feel this is important, but then like with time you will realize there was something more important and that would be more nicer to add. So have a list of all possible things and prioritize which is the most important thing. This is for everyone. And on the day of your interview, like you need to be dressed neatly and formally. You don't want to look as if you just woke up and came for the interview. Then be confident in your body language and speech. So like this is where like practicing in front of mirror and practicing with your family. That's very, very important. Family or friends. Like that is very, very important, because you get the confidence of talking to another person, whatever you are speaking. And also by standing in front of mirror and seeing yourself, you see your posture. Do I look confident? Or do I look very scared, like intimidated? You don't want to look like that. You should look confident. So try practicing that and be confident. And arrive well before the interview time. Coming late to an interview or like doesn't leave a really good impression. It in fact gives a very bad impression. Then be respectful to fellow candidates, interviewers, and the organizers. Also, as I mentioned previously, like I was talking about evidence-based responses. Make sure whenever you can, like throughout your interview, whenever possible, try to include evidences to support whatever you are claiming. Now, another important factor when it comes to the day of your interview, like you have prepared some things and you are talking really well on those, but then there are going to be other questions they are going to ask you there, which you have to formulate at that point and talk, right? So, what you need to be extremely careful about that is you have to structure your answers. You don't want to confuse the listeners. Again, as I previously mentioned to you, interviewers are listening to a lot of people. So, like, it is important to capture their attention. And like on top of that, if you're going to confuse them by not speaking clearly or like with clarity or in a very crisp way, they are going to lose attention and they are not going to like give like they are not going to listen to like have that they're not going to have a really good impression, or they are not even going to get what you are trying to say, like to the extent that you mean. So it's important that you communicate things in a very crisp and clear way. Like, for example, like if they ask you something and you need time to formulate your response, like to be in a crisp and concise way, then it's okay to take time. Tell them you need a few seconds and you can formulate your answer and then tell them properly. You don't need to feel rushed. Okay, they have asked me something, now I have to respond something immediately. You don't need to feel that way, and you can feel free to take a few seconds, formulate your response, and then communicate that very clearly. So I'll give you another tip that will help you communicate in a very clear and crisp way. So, for example, if they ask you like some scenario, like what is like, can you elaborate on a situation where you have faced some like where you have overcome some challenging situation? If there is a question like that, you need to explain it very clearly, and you can use the star method to do that in a very crisp way. So, what the star method is like first you explain the situation and say what is the circumstance, this is the backdrop, and then you talk about the problem that you are trying to mitigate, say what is the task that you are trying to solve, and then you say what is the action that you took, which stands for A. What is the action that you took that helped in solving the problem, and then what was the result for the action that you took. So here I have a very simple example. Like you can go through this example. Like this is about this is about like an upcoming national exam, and like a student is talking about how he has helped in upcoming that national exam, like helped during that national exam. So that is the problem here. So as you can see, first he explains the what is the situation. Like he was in high school and there were several students who were struggling with math, like very complex concepts in math. That is the circumstance or the situation. Then what is the problem? The problem is that there is an upcoming national exam and the student was asked to start a school session to assist other students. That is the problem at hand. And what is the action that he has taken? He stayed after school twice a week to review classes and so on, and help them work on their homeworks and so on. And what is the result? The class average improved. So if you see, he has explained the situation very clearly that like a lot of students were struggling. Imagine he didn't say the situation at all. There is an upcoming exam and like the math teacher asked him to have a session. He stayed after school and the class average was good. It doesn't signify the fact that there were a lot of, the difficulty lies in the fact that there were a lot of students who were struggling. So it is important for him to explain this situation clearly, that the people who are listening to him will understand the difficulty of the situation and why that situation is challenging. So for any such scenarios, it is important. And if you don't say the result, for example, like you say it is a difficult situation and the person has done so and so, what is the result? Like, if you don't know the result, what is the point of explaining this? He has taken efforts, okay. But did it translate into something good? That's a question mark, right? So you need to explain what was the result also. So it is important that you explain all these things clearly so that the people who are listening to you understand what is the scenario and how much of a significance that you have added to the scenario. So it is very important to explain situations like this very clearly using the star method. And the star method will make it effective, like with respect to the listener actually understanding the extent of the situation, and also you being able to explain it very clearly and crisply. Do you understand, or do you have any questions on this?
No, ma'am.
Do you think this is going to be helpful for you?
Yes, ma'am. Sure, ma'am.
So now I have a small exercise for you all. Like, this is a question, this is just an example question. Describe a time when you set and reached a goal and how you achieved it. So you have set a goal for yourself and you have achieved it. You want to describe some situation like this to show that you are someone who are capable of setting your own goals and achieving it. That's the whole point of this question. Now, I want you to sit and retrospect on your life to see where you have done this, and then use the star method to formulate a nice response to this question, assuming your interviewer has asked this question. So, I want you to formulate a response for this question. I'll give you a few minutes to do that. Are you all working on your response?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Do you all need more time or like are you good to go? Like, if you need more time, like I'll give you more time. Awesome. Do any of you want to volunteer and like tell what your response was? It's okay if you're not comfortable, but if you would really like to, or like if you are okay with it, I would really like to know some of your
Ma'am,
experience.
ma'am, I would like to present my answer, ma'am.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, ma'am. Happy evening, ma'am. Happy evening, all. So the situation which I was given was in our school we had a FM for ourselves called Sangamam FM, and I was a student coordinator for that. And through that we got a chance to do a one-day program at All India Radio, and through that also I got a personal opportunity to get audition to host a children program over there. So that was my situation given for me. And one thing lagging was that program should be in Tamil, but I'm not a Tamil student by my language, and I was a Hindi student during my school days. So that was a challenge for me. So what are all the things the thing I used completely was the Google Translate thing, and all the contents I would pick up in English, translate to them, and I practiced the accent and everything which was possible. And then I passed the interview, and I did the show during my 10th standard for 7 months, and I got all appreciations for that from our station master also. And I was very happy to be part of All India Radio during my 10th standard, that too crucial time of my public exam. So that thing I got my first salary too in my first experience for doing the program. So this was one of my main things where I set a goal and achieved that. I'm no aware about my Tamil language, but due to this, I got into it and I tried all my possible ways and gave my best in the programs. So this is
That's
about the situation now.
that's really good, and I see that you have incorporated the star method also. So, like, do you feel the difference in using that and not using that when you actually talk about a scenario?
Yes, ma'am, it would get clumsy, ma'am, like which we should set it first and which we should set it next. But using this, I got it clear. Like in the order wise, I came and then I delivered you it clearly, I hope, ma'am. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
this
So
method
that was
helps a lot,
great.
ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your this thing. That's really a nice feat of you. Uh,
Thank you,
good
ma'am.
to hear. Uh, does any of you, any other people want to volunteer for this?
Ma'am, good evening, ma'am.
Yeah, hi Ashavadini.
Ma'am, yeah, ma'am, I would like to share my views, ma'am.
Yeah,
Ma'am,
sure.
like, ma'am, I decided to clear an aptitude test, ma'am, which was conducted by an organization, and I
Hmm.
started getting preparing for the notes and for the required syllabus, ma'am. So first I started gathering the notes and all, ma'am, and I spent time for my preparation persistently, ma'am, like daily. So at
Hmm?
the last, I got selected for that aptitude test, ma'am. So finally, I got very much happy, ma'am, because for my effort, I got selected, and I received um, more appreciations, ma'am. So it was an happiest moment in my life, ma'am.
Okay. So one suggestion that I have is, like you have spoken like about your action, which is like how much efforts like you prepared every day and all that, and the result is that you cleared the aptitude test. And the problem at the hand is like that you want to clear this particular aptitude test, right? But
Yes, ma'am.
what I felt was missing was you need to elaborate a little bit more on the situation. So you can say something like, this is so and so aptitude test. This is very difficult to clear. And like maybe say something like, out of these many people, only these many people actually clear this aptitude test. Or you can say, I was like starting off, I had a very low average score of this. You can say that also. Like either you have to say some kind of like you have to explain the situation so that the listener can understand the difficulty. It can either be like the exam being very difficult for people to actually clear. It can be that, or it can be that when you started off, when you gave a mock test or something like that, your score was very, very bad. So, but you wanted to clear. So, from not being able to clear to actually clearing it, it was a long journey. So, it was difficult. Do you understand my point?
Yes, ma'am.
So you need to elaborate that situation a little bit more, like so that the people who are listening to will know, oh, actually it is very difficult to clear this test, or like actually it was very difficult for this particular person to start off from wherever she was and to clear this test. So like she has put in this much effort and she has taken this action, and by setting that goal, she has achieved it. Do you get my point?
Yes, ma'am. I got it, ma'am.
Yeah, so I would like you to incorporate that's why like it's important to say the situation also, so that people actually understand that it was actually a difficult thing and she has achieved it.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Anyone else? But thanks, Harshavardhani. It's great that you came forward and spoke about your experience.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Anyone else? If not, we'll move forward. Like another important thing during your interview is attitude. So your attitude towards suggestions and opinions, all those matter. Say like people will generally see like, are you open to suggestions? Like if they say some suggestions, are you someone who's open and is listening to whatever they are saying and ready to accept suggestions? Do you have are you some sort of a person like that? That is one thing that they'll definitely see. And then but there is a thin line. You can't be saying yes to everything that someone says. You also need to have some kind of beliefs that you strongly hold. So if you strongly feel that something is right, then it is important that you stand by it and try to convince the other person or other people who are listening to you that this is the case. So that's a good quality of a leader. A leader will always be open to suggestions. He or she will be able to take suggestions or opinions, but at the same time, if they strongly feel that this is the right thing to do, then they take that stand, and they'll try to convince the people around them that this should be the thing that this is right, and they should at least give it some try. So you should like, these are the things that people will generally look for when you talk in an interview. Like, and they can give you scenarios or give you opinions and see how you are responding to those kind of things. And another important thing is, if you don't know something, you can accept that. It is not like all of us are like human beings, we are all trying to improve. No, none of us know everything. So if you don't know something, you can accept that. So like if there is some technical interview, like for example, if it's a technical interview and they are asking you something and you are not quite aware of it, one thing that you can try doing is you can say, I'm not quite aware of this, or I don't know about this, but I know something closely related to this, which is this. You can say something like that. In that way, you are very honest, and and you are accepting the fact that you don't know about something. But at the same time, since you are saying that you know something closely related, in the end, that is what will last with them. The fact that you know something about this, that will be the lasting impression than you actually saying I don't know something. But if you leave with I don't know this, then that is just going to leave them an impression that you don't know this. Do you get my point? So using what are you going to end your statement, that matters. That will be the lasting impression, or the last thing that they are listening to. So it is better to be accepting of you what you don't know, or like of your weaknesses, but at the same time try to say what you like, or like what you know related to that. This is with respect to technical interview. But if it is something else, like a scholarship interview or something like that, like if you don't know something or you are aware of your weakness, then one thing that you can definitely try is, I know this is my weakness and I'm really working towards improving that. That is a better stand than saying I know everything, or like being delusional and saying I know everything. Do you get my point? So being like being aware of what your strengths are and showcasing that, and at the same time you should be aware of your weakness and be accepting of that. No one is going to be like I know everything, right? So showcase your strengths. At the same time, if there are weaknesses that you have, try to have plans on how you are trying to mitigate that weakness. Is that point clear?
Yes, ma'am. Got it, ma'am.
So, like more than me saying I'm good at everything, I'm saying I'm good at so and so things, but I'm not so good at this. But I have this plan to improve on that, and I'm working towards improving that. That is a better stand. Okay, so that's all about attitude. So, what do you need to do after the interview? It's not like this one interview is going to be a one and only interview. You will have a lot more interviews going forward. So, what you need to do is you need to retrospect and understand what all went well and what all went wrong. So, have a clear picture of this is what I did right and this is what I did wrong, or this is something I need to improve. Have a note on all these things that went well and try, and all these things that didn't go as you expected, or like that was unexpected. Keep a note of this and try to fix it. This is not just for your future interviews, but also for your self improvement. You know, okay, this is something, this is an area that I should improve. I really didn't know that this was something that I was lacking. So probably I should sit and fix this. So that is for your own self improvement. So make sure after any interview, you retrospect and understand and maintain a note of what all things that you need to improve for your future. And one important thing that I want to tell you all is every interview or any sort of efforts like this, be it writing essays or like preparing for your interview, all these are some form of an achievement, because through this you are getting like valuable learning experience and realization, no matter how it goes, like whether it, if it go like, definitely you all want to crack it and clear the interview. But at the same time, if it goes bad also, always keep in mind that there are a lot of valuable things that you are getting through this, and which will pave you the way to improve yourself further in your future. So keep that in mind and try to give your best. So, to summarize, the big thing that I would say is be confident in your strengths and showcase that. It is like no one will come and look into your life and understand, oh, this person is actually talented. No, you have to showcase your talents, you have to showcase your strengths, and you have to market yourself. At the same time, be aware of your weakness, know what all you need to improve, and accept the fact that you have some weaknesses and you are working on it. You are working on it and take steps to work on it. That's the most important thing. Then, as I mentioned, prepare and present clearly. Talk in a very clear and crisp way, because people are listening to a lot of people. So you don't want to confuse them or make their job difficult by saying answers in a very confused way. So present clearly and prepare as much as you can so that you are confident and bold. So these are the main things that I wanted to share with you all. I hope you all could take something back home like after this session. Like if you have any questions, feel free to ask me right now. I'm open to questions now.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Lakshmi Narasimhan.
Ma'am, when will be the interview tentatively?
Maybe some of the organizers here can answer. Do I have Nandakishore here?
Hi, yeah. Can you repeat the question again?
Like, what is the tentative date for the interviews?
Okay, I'll just get back to you on that. Just give me a second.
Sure.
So there's no tentative date per se, but like the shortlisted candidates will get to know.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, and in like how many minutes I should give my intro, ma'am? Exactly.
Like, I think you can go for 5 to 10 minutes.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. But again, Lakshmi Narasimhan, you need to like listen to your interviewer. Sometimes they might be like wanting you to tell it much more briefly, or they might give you some more time. So you need to like keep that in mind and modify it accordingly based on whatever they are asking. But typically
Ma'am.
it is
Yes, ma'am.
Are there any other questions?
Ma'am, and then I have one question for organizers.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ma'am, when should I submit my working model, ma'am? I have it, or I should bring it to interview directly.
Um, Let me just see. Mrishna, are you there?
Yeah. I'll just ask Nandakishore to join in and answer all these questions.
Yeah, sure. Hi, Nandakishore. There was a question here for you.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead. What's the question?
Good evening, sir. I am Lakshmi Narasimhan. Sir, sir, I have done a working model for my project. When should I submit it, or is it fine that I can directly bring it to interview?
Right. So you have done the abstract, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that is enough for your application. And in your interview, if the situation arises, you can talk about it. You don't have to submit a working model.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
No worries. Any more questions? Aradhana, back to you.
Yeah. Uh, mm, like, do any of you have any other questions for me?
No, ma'am.
Okay. If not, we can wrap the session. So, good luck with all your interview prep and like your application and everything as such. And in general, good luck with your college and like your studies and for all your future endeavors. Thank you all for joining the session.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, before we end the session, can we just take a picture? I'll just stop the recording.